Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Billy B, who originally donated to see a Necrotic Ooze deck in action. Now, I built some drafts of this deck, and once I did, I realized it was kind of clunky. And so I turned to Reddit, and I was like, okay, Reddit, what do we do? How do we make this deck better? And Billy read the responses on Reddit and was like, hey, what if we just like play some zombies or curses or something instead? And I said, thank you, Billy. Let's play some curses. Now, if you're not familiar with the overall archetype, here's what's going on with Legacy Curses. The deck is built around Curse of Misfortunes, which enchants your opponent, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you can search your library for a curse card that doesn't have the same name as a curse attached to them, and then attach it to that player. And so you are looking to get Overwhelming Splendor to turn all of their creatures into 1/1s with no abilities. That also stops activated abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities. And then you get Curse of Death's Hold that kills all of those 1/1 creatures. And once you've done that, you can finish the game with Cruel Reality. At the beginning of a enchanted player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. If they can't, they lose 5 life. So even if your opponent is at 20, this kills them dead in 4 turns, while also getting rid of creatures that might kill you. Backing up this is a traditional prison list with things like Trinisphere and Chalice of the Void. But Curses gets to play a lot of really strange cards, and I think Hagra Mauling is a great example of that. It's either a tapped land, or it destroys target creature for 3 or 4 mana, depending on how your opponent feels about basic lands. So if we count this as a land, we really have 22 lands, plus 4 Dark Rituals, plus 4 Chrome Moxen as our mana sources. And we do need that much mana in order to accelerate out this expensive stuff. Now, Leyline plus Helm of Obedience to infinitely mill out your opponent is another way to win with this deck, and yet another way is to just go Karn into Mycosynth Lattice or Karn into Liquimetal Coating. Either that stops your opponent from casting spells one way or the other. Why I'm excited to play Curses is actually the card Sudden Edict. This is a split-second card from Modern Horizons 2 that has target player sacrifice a creature. Now, why am I so particularly excited about this? It's not just because it's a Modern Horizons 2 card, it's because this is a card that specifically answers a huge problem that this deck has. Curses sucks against Delver. You just get run over, they play an early threat, they counter like your first 2 big spells, and then you die to said threat. Well, Sudden Edict just says, you know, screw you, I'm killing your creature, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think between like Sudden Edict and the Hagra Mauling and some other sideboard options like Plague Engineer, that this deck might have a little bit more game versus Delver. I'm not going to go so far to say it's like I think I'm going to be favored versus Delver or anything, but I think I'll be on more even footing. One other card you might not be familiar with is Plague Reaver out of the sideboard. It is a 6/5 for 3 mana. 3 mana. Alright, got it. Good. Okay, and it has a bunch of text on it. The text isn't super relevant, other than at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice each other creature you control. So this is kind of a you get 1 creature card, and conveniently, there's not a lot of creatures here. Notably, Opposition Agent, which used to be a main deck card in this archetype, has now been relegated to the sideboard. Opposition Agent is one of those cards that does everything or nothing, and very rarely is it just good. The floor on this card is it's a 3/2 with flash, and you often see the floor in Legacy. The ceiling is your opponent casts Infernal Tutor, and you greedily rub your hands together and you go, ha 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 ha. And your opponent goes, oh, expletive in the chat. I'm excited to give this one a go. Historically, people love watching mono black videos, and I'm happy to make them. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for more sweet Legacy content. And if you are subscribed, hit the like button. It helps me out a lot. It's free. All right, let's battle. And if you want to try this out later, remember the deck list as well as the donation information if you want to get your own deck on stream is always available in the video description. Fight time. All right, YouTube, how do you feel about turn 1 Trinisphere? Wait, hold on. Do we actually have, well, yeah, we have turn 1 Trinisphere. It costs the Dark Ritual, which I guess is fine if we're playing Trinisphere. The rest of the hand is like big doo-doo garbage. And there's even a world where if I keep this hand, I'm supposed to go to Fence Grid on turn 1, so that Trinisphere can't get countered. But Trinisphere is the best if you play it on turn 1. I think I keep this hand. It's a little sketchy, but like when you're living the prison life, sometimes you just have to accept the hands that are a little bit sketchy. So we lead on Chrome Mox. I am going to imprint the Dark Ritual so that I can work towards black, even though the Overwhelming Splendor in my hand is not really going to do anything this game. Like, I do have black cards in my deck, like the Hagra Mauling. Alright, Force of Will pitching Brazen Borrower. We are now relatively unfavored for the rest of this game. That's okay. But a lot of the alternative lines look a little bit dicey. Like if I lead on Defense Grid and then my opponent just flops a threat on turn 1, I will spend the entire game trying to dig out of that. Rule reality. So a good part of being an excellent Curses pilot is not drawing your cards that cost 7 and 8 mana. So that's it's been a problem thus far in the first 2 minutes of this video. Drop from the opponent. I'm guessing this all means Rug Delver now. There is said Delver, and now they'll set up to flip it. Notably, they do have to do that at sorcery speed because Defense Grid says no to that during my turn. A Leyline of the Void. Because of the Helm win, this is probably worth casting. And it can also do some things against, say, a Dragon Rage Channeler or a Tarmogoyf or something. So it's not like this is a zero-text card. That, like, again, the biggest question is, like, is this worth the Ancient Tomb? Flips to a Lightning Bolt. And we'll take 3, go into 13. So my opponent's going to use their mana on their turn. It might just be, like, doming me to the face. Every one of those hits just matters. And a new Brainstorm. I'm not exactly sure why we would play Lightning Bolt prior to Brainstorm, but you do you. Alright, Scalding Tarn. We'll see if my opponent plays another threat. Another threat is very good, because it means that my Sudden Edicts get worse. Alright, it's just damage. Okay, I mean, that's nice. That destroys a Delver. It costs 3, but unfortunately I have to overpay and tap the Ancient Tomb here. I likely only get 1 more activation of the Ancient Tomb this game, and that activation probably kills me. Because I go to 3 specifically. 3 is a very bad number versus the deck with Lightning Bolts and Chain Lightnings. Misty from the opponent. And do new Delver. New removal spell, please. That's not doing much. Alright, it resolves. Not that that really means much. Delver flips to Daze. I believe that it was correct for my opponent to fetch that away. Not 100% sure. Well, only 1 play available to me here, of course. Yep. Alright, it was a good play. I liked that one. Alright, still don't feel good versus Delver, although I think our draw was below average. Okay, what do I want versus Delver? I probably want the Plague Engineers. They can, like, since my opponent's Rug, they're going to have Tarmogoyf. They could have Nimble Mongoose. And this just kills some of the wizards / humans early on. I could consider Plague Reaver as well, just as a giant thing that can, you can block, right? I can block a Tarmogoyf, trade with a Tarmogoyf, or just dome them. The Trinispheres, in my experience, are kind of medium versus Delver, and so is the Karn package. Trinisphere specifically on the draw is a little rough. I don't know if I want to go after my Trinispheres and then trim 1 Karn, or if I want to get rid of the Karn package and then bring in Helm number 3. The Karn package is specifically access to Ensnaring Bridge, which is nice. If, hypothetically, I go down on the Karn package, that just gets the Plague Engineers in. I junk Trinispheres. Then I can do this. This leaves me without access to Ensnaring Bridge. I don't know how I feel about that exactly. Like, Trinisphere and Defense Grid kind of have the same functionality, and it's nice to have redundancy. I think Trinisphere is... Like, I think I like boarding like this on the draw, but I'm not sure on the play, where I can, like, leverage the Trinisphere a little bit better. It also could be that some Dark Rituals go out. Let's try this and see how it feels. Okay, I need to keep in mind that Hagra Mauling can be a land as well. This is sort of an unexciting hand. I can play tapped land into Defense Grid, and then I have Removal Spell and 6/5. This is medium minus. I think I'm going to keep it. Play my tapped Wastelandable land. Yeah, so in case you're curious, the reason why I take out Karn is because the Delver deck often gets early pressure out on you, and when that happens, you just don't have time to do all of your Karn setup. Like, you play Karn, you tutor for something, and then you get attacked and Karn dies. Alright, so we're going to go for Defense Grid. If Defense Grid resolves, great. If it doesn't resolve, we trade it for a counterspell. The hope here is to be able to Plague Engineer on Snake and trade with Hex Drinker while leaving a body around. It did resolve. Alright, new Tropical Island. We'll see if my opponent funnels mana into Hex Drinker or if they have other plans. Yep, okay. They're just going in on the Snake. And I will get very rewarded for having Plague Engineer in my deck. After going to 18, of course. Chromox does not do anything this turn. I don't need a 4th mana this turn. We can talk next turn. Thank you, Defense Grid. Snake. Got him. Alright, so now my opponent has their other color. Just a ponder. A resolved Curse of Fortunes probably wins the game most of the time. I say most of the time because sometimes Brazen Borrower can get in there and do some weird stuff, but... But most of the time when you start putting 7-drops into play versus Delver, you get those games. Oh, just my dome, huh? That is not a feel-good play. Could I cast something after? Okay, like, what are we doing with the sequencing here? Like, why is this Lightning Bolt coming pre-ponder? Make your plays with the highest amount of information possible. Like, what if you found a second Hex Drinker, for example, and now you didn't Lightning Bolt Plague Engineer? A Helm of Obedience. Sure. I'm going to attack. And then there's a real question of what the next move is. If I play this as a land, it enters tapped, and I give up my only removal spell. But I think... And let me mute my phone here. Okay, sorry about that. Lost track. I'm trying to think of whether or not I want to, like, imprint Plague Reaver and play Helm of Obedience this turn and just put that into play. Like, the Plague Reaver is very good if the Plague Engineers died, but my opponent just, like, did not Lightning Bolt Plague Engineer for some reason. I mean, next turn I want to play the Curse, so... Alright, let's play this as a tapped land. And let's play Haymakers 2 turns in a row. The Plague Reaver is a little awkward right now. In that I have another creature. And maybe that means, like, on the play, I should have kept the Trinispheres over that. But, like, this is black and imprinting for me right now. Notably, if my hand looked a little bit different, I could have imprinted Hagra Mauling on this instead of just playing this as a land. But I need land drop 5 here. I will not cast Curse of Misfortunes if my opponent leaves mana up, though. That is something that I will cast it. Excuse me, I will cast it when I am relatively sure that it actually gets to resolve. Alright, Brainstorm from the opponent. Do a Wasteland. I think they are smart to take out one of my lands since I didn't imprint the Hagra Mauling last turn. Hopefully, I just draw a land and it's kind of a moot point. Another Plague Engineer would be savage as well. Chalice is not bad. There could be some real interesting things involving this Delver of Secrets and Helm of Obedience next turn. For now, let's send in Plague Engineer. We connect successfully. Now, I think I still want to Chalice on 1. There's a world where Chalice on 2 is indeed better, but let's start here. And now we'll play this very strange game with Delver of Secrets. That is a Brainstorm. That is not a castable card. I'm going to let my opponent have it and let them flip their Delver. But I could choose to not let that happen. Do I mill? Hitting Uro would be kind of bad. I'm just going to go ahead and take the hit here. I will probably do it at my opponent's end step. Mill for 2. Brainstorm, Scalding Tarn. Another Helm. Not what I'm looking for. Also, now my Curse of Misfortunes might end up being too slow. See if I can make a plan out of this somehow. A Hooting Mandrills. Not quite enough pressure. The reason why I'm willing to go all in on that is that I can't draw like a Leyline next turn and just go off and win. But I think I'm just going down. The Wasteland crippled me. I think the second one's the nail in the coffin. It's kind of weird. Like, I had the opportunity to unflip this Delver. Or not unflip the Delver, to potentially stop the Delver from flipping. But in doing so, I give my opponent a card that may or may actually be a live card instead of a dead card. I had a decent number of cards that would remove a Delver or otherwise slow them down, but we are not getting here this time. GG's. Still don't feel good versus Delver. What have I done to deserve hands like this? Okay, this is another hand where I can produce a turn 1 Trinisphere, but I think I have to throw this one back because I have no ability to hit my land drops afterwards, so there's a very good chance that like I could just get wastelanded and die to my own Trinisphere without doing anything else. Alright. This is a pretty fast Leyline Helm hand. I think I'm supposed to throw back the Chrome Mox, though. Like, it is an accelerant, but I am not going to have a black card to put with it. Opponent has mulligan to 5. We also just might win the game by putting Leyline into play. Alright, opening hand actions. Leyline. Swamp go. Apparently I have multiple different swamp arts currently. That is strong. Creeping Tar Pit. Okay, so we're not just winning the game with the Leyline. Swamp go. The sequel. We're going to be playing Karn on turn 4 as the bait spell for a counter spell. Especially now. Oh. Just resolved? We'll minus. I will just grab a liquid metal coating here. I think I would go after my opponent's lands if they don't just take care of Karn. It's possible I'm supposed to grab a second Helm, but whatever. Wasteland is pretty good against me. But I have a recurable Wasteland for you. And I'm just going to hit more land drops. I'm going to target the green source here, because that is things like Abrupt Decay that could break this up. Alright, there's the floating of mana. I'll blow it up, see if they have a decay for this. Oh! Like a bug lands? Well, maybe we did just win the game with the Leyline. Okay. New tropical island, that's fine. Oh? Into decay? Into cling to dust. Sure. Alright, I've already played my land, I'll pass the turn. I just have Vindicate every turn, so, you know. I think we're probably done, effectively. Not actually. Like, the game might go on 6 more turns, but... Liliana. I have a Sorcerer's Spyglass. I do have a Sorcerer's Spyglass, so I can just deal with that later. We're just, going to continue to bully lands. I also think it's probably just safe to play out the Helm. Like, if my opponent deals with the Helm, I have another. Okay, and there's the concession from my opponent. So I don't actually think it's bug lands. I think it's a bug control deck where my opponent just happens to have like maybe a 1 of crop rotation for a Field of the Dead or something. Although I'm not 100% sure. And when I'm not 100% sure, that probably means I will just sideboard lightly, because it's very easy to be wrong. For example, if my opponent is on the land side of the spectrum and just happens to have a weirdo Lily for some reason, like because it self-mills, then how I evaluate cards is very differently versus if my opponent has counterspells. Generally speaking, I do not like Chalice of the Void versus bug decks. It might sit in play and stop my opponent from casting things for a few turns, but ultimately they'll just find a Decay or an Assassin's Trophy or a Force of Vigor or whatever and remove it, and then all their cards are unlocked. So I am probably going to go down on these and up on something else. What is that something else? Honestly, probably just a very large creature. If I expect my opponent to board out some amount of their creature removal, this becomes good, and I kind of overtax Abrupt Decays as is already. So I might just board in a few more threats, like 2 Plague Reavers, 2 Opposition Agents. And honestly, it's possible I want a third of these. Sudden Edict stocked is going to be wildly different from like 0 to infinite, depending on whether or not my opponent is making Merit Lodge. I think I am just going to play 3 when I don't know exactly what my opponent is doing. Because they are just a bug control deck, this can catch some things, like I don't know, a Baleful Strix or a Tarmogoyf that might be in there. And if they are a lands deck, well, Merit Lodge, 2020, uncounterable. Get them. Okay. Let's see. Grummox, Imprint, Sudden Edict, Dark Ritual, Karn turn 1, keep. There are some worlds where I imprint Hagra Mauling instead. Alright, Grummox resolves. Is it Hagra Mauling here? It might be Hagra Mauling here, and I keep Sudden Edict to protect the Planeswalkers. Now that I hit, like, I have land drops for the first 2 turns. And Hagra Mauling doesn't actually help me carve out into second Karn. Let's make the mana. And let's do ye old Force of Will check. Alright, checked. They had it. We'll try again next turn. Alright, Cabal Pit. Opposition Agent. I'm just going to be passing the turn and trying to grab that fetch land. Oh, baby. This is what I mean by Opposition Agent is just insane or nothing. Okay, I also get to see my opponent's deck list here. Okay, oh, this is super interesting. So it is Field of the Dead base control with a bunch of Planeswalkers and Uros. Okay, I am going to need a snip of this. Okay, now, is there a land that I can take which is more annoying for me to have than not? Taking this Tundra is pretty damn good, because then it blanks my opponent's Containment Priest and Teferis, other than just Caracas. So I think I'm going to grab Tundra. Alright, and I've already made my land drop for turn 2, so that'll be the turn. Notably, Opposition Agent is bugged. I'm supposed to be able to see my opponent's hand. Oh, we just got the game off of Opposition Agent. Well, that's the sort of times where it has its ceiling. There is just one Overwhelming Splendor in this deck list, right? Right? This hand doesn't really do anything. Like, I have a couple removal spells, but I have no plan to actually win the game, and I have 1 dead card already. I'd rather take a 6 that looks better. And kind of sucks too. Like, I can junk Defense Grid, keep a Hagra Mauling, play it tap. This hand doesn't suck. It's just not good. I'm gonna throw back Defense Grid here. I will have a turn 2 Trinisphere. I will have nothing to do afterwards, and I will have, like, no cards left, but I'll have a turn 2 Trinisphere, damn it. Oh no. I'm gonna die. I mean, to be fair, it could be something like Sneak and Show, but like most days when you see Volcanic Island, like, you know. Fuck you! Fuck you, Overwhelming Splendor, you piece of shit. I just threw you back. I can't cast you. Damn it. That probably ends up going under the Chrome Mox, which I'm probably not supposed to play right now because of Brazen Borrower. Alright. Opponent fetches off Wooded Foothills. I'm gonna see a Trop or just another Volk. Alright, Rug Delver. Or Blue-Red Delver, rather. Okay, you're a small boy. Small girl? Small girl. The surveilling is still real. Like, my opponent can filter bad cards away, even if they end up going to the Exile Zone instead. This is just a 1/1 threat, but it does make my Sudden Edicts worse. I don't mind Swamp. We'll go Swamp, Chrome Mox, imprint this scumbag. And we'll try to play a Trinisphere. If it gets countered, it gets countered. It will be good if it's in play, but it's not that big of a deal if it gets countered. Alright. So I'm gonna get hit for 1. I can technically use this to remove that creature, but I'd really prefer not to. That's a creature I'll remove. Oh, an opponent is gonna try to set it up, it looks like. Oh, nope, another Dragon Rage Channeler. I don't have Plague Engineers in game 1, right? Those are in the sideboard. I don't get to live that dream. I don't get to live that dream. Alright. Now, a couple of things just happened. Number 1, I played an Urborg. This means that my opponent can use fetch lands to tap for black mana, which is really going to be colorless for them, but you know. Number 2, now that my opponent has 2 Dragon Rage Channelers, they get to surveil multiple times, which is going to let them dig through stuff pretty darn quickly. Alright, a Ragavan goes to exile. I'll take 2. Alright, and I assume that's going to be land and Ragavan. Yep, that's bad. Yep, we're totally fucking dead. My opponent gets to pull very large and scary cards out of my deck. And even though this Leyline did some work against my opponent, like, they still have 4 damage worth of pressure in play, plus a card draw and mana engine. Don't think they're going to cast my Trinisphere. Alright, Chain Lightning goes to the bin off Surveil. And there's a Wasteland. Cool. Yep, very much am still under the belief that I am dead. This is late, and it just gets rid of a 1/1. I will cast it. But this is not when I want to draw this card. This is like a turn 1 or turn 2 play that's just very strong. Now my opponent is protecting the creature that matters with creatures that I made bad. Are you a monkey pirate? You're a monkey pirate, just for future Plague Engineer purposes. Oh, a Karn. That's actually relevant. It blows up my Chrome Mox and Chalices. I don't know if it's worth that much mana from them, but what else are they going to do with it? Okay, are they going for it? They are going for it, and of course they get to surveil off Karn. Goodbye, Chrome Mox. I hardly knew thee. Alright, I mean, another Sudden Edict is still leaving Ragavan in play. So I haven't really answered my problems. I'm going to go to 8. Ragavan does monkey shit. Null Rod just in case. They don't get to surveil anymore. Yeah, I can play this Chalice on 1 and then they just like Karn plus it, so it's not even worth playing. Cool, cool. Wait, hold on, they shut off their own fucking treasures by doing that. Apes together strong or something. Oh, wait, that's actually legit. Alright, JK. I will take back. I take back my joke. Alright, I am dead. Yep, deck still feels bad versus Delver. That hasn't changed. Alright. So I need the Plague Engineers for reasons that are probably abundantly clear after that game, and I'll probably play Plague Reavers 2. I think I'm going to go ahead and junk the Karn package, and I think I'll keep Trinispheres on the play, question mark. They're just so good at stopping Ragavan from snowballing out of control, but like my own Trinispheres can backfire on me so easily after I get wastelanded. So I guess all my spells cost 1 billion mana, so getting wastelanded still sucks anyway. Maybe I don't keep my Trinispheres. I do not know. I know I want this stuff, and so I'm just going to go ahead and submit this. It's a little awkward to board in the Plague Reavers while also having Plague Engineers, but if the Plague Engineers are sitting in play, hopefully they're doing my thing. God damn, like, how? Do I keep it on 6? I just lose to everything. Like, I lose to Force of Will and to Threat. I lose to Wasteland. Can't keep this. On 5. This hand is bad, but it's 5 cards. I'm trying to win with Leyline Helm here. That does not fit into that plan. And I think I pitched the removal spell, unfortunately. Alright. Let's go Ancient Tomb Defense Grid. It is not resolving. Force Pitch Delver. I mean, we got a threat. That's the good news. Alright, not getting wastelanded. That's nice. Ragavan is terrifying. I will play my tapped land, pass the turn. Maybe we'll just draw a soul land and win with Helm of Obedience, and everything will be okay. What if that happened? Wouldn't that be cool? My opponent found Dark Ritual. I don't think they're going to cast my Dark Ritual. I've been wrong before, but I don't think. Ah, shit. So, do I concede now, or do I play it out for a couple turns? Because I am dead. In comes the Monkey Pirate. I go to 14. Opponent collects treasure. Alright. Like, message received. Okay, let's see. No 7 mana white enchantment in this hand. So keep. And still a little bit clunky. I think I go for turn 2 Chalice, turn 3 Karn. That can change under some circumstances. Goblin Lackey. Okay, our hand is not good. Yeah. That's not going to be good against this. Opponent will have a goblin. Life will be awful. Okay. Well, I'll play a tapped land, hope not to get wastelanded. I think this game is already lost, if I'm being honest. Alright, did not get wastelanded. How bad is it? What the fuck? Alright, well. Let's play a tapped land. And see if that happens again. Alright. Take 2 damage. Oh, it's just Muxus. No big deal, just Muxus. Getting Goblin Trashmaster and Skirk Prospector. Okay. Let's concede. Alrighty. I would like Opposition Agents and Plague Engineers. I would not like Defense Grids, Trinispheres, or Chalices. That means that I have to board in 2 more cards. I'm good with Karn not being able to get Helm. Like, I'll just board in Vault of Whispers as a land. I guess I can board in Sorcerous Spyglass. That's not embarrassing to play, and I'll leave the utility of being able to get a Helm. Okay. Turn 1, Plague Engineer. I will keep this hand. My opponent puts Leyline into play, which I think means they think that I am oops, since I played 2 modal double face cards. They're going to be in for a Rude Awakening. Now I can just get wastelanded here and my life will be somewhat bad. Goblin, well, Name Goblin, not Goblins, for being super technical. Anyway, if I get Wastelanded, life's pretty bad, but hopefully, you know, the tribal hate card is good against the tribal deck. That's good. That's very good. Alright, so I attack with Plague Engineer. And wouldn't you know it, the red-black deck probably can't answer an enchantment that gets into play. So, what is this? This is like round 3, round 4 maybe? I think it's round 4, and we are just now casting our first curse of the stream. The recording. It has been a rough league. Alright, it has resolved. Rishadenport is fine. It's gotta be like Aether Vial. Sort of cool here if this resolves. Okay, never mind. If that resolves, I could have gotten Overwhelming Splendor and then they couldn't have ported me. Oh, I think I am just gonna grab Overwhelming Splendor first. And that's enough to get a concession. Hey, we're doing the thing. I do not believe that I will be changing my sideboard plans at all. This is another kind of bad opening hand that I might need to keep. This is a hand that just hopes Opposition Agent is good enough to win. I think that's potentially okay. It can Mize a fetch land, it can block a Goblin Lackey, it shuts off Matron. It does stuff. Alright, Mountain into Lackey. Alright, I mean, we can try to ambush it mid-combat. It does kind of suck that we have to pitch a removal spell in order to do that. But that's where I'm at in life. Oh, we're not just going to get blown out by Munitions Expert. We have to get blown out by a different card instead. A Pyrokinesis, for example. A Tarfire. Oh! Oh! Yeah. Okay, new Goblin Lackey. You can Wasteland me. That's not the end of the world here. Well, maybe. Let's cast the Spyglass. I will name Wasteland. There we go. Alright, cool. So my opponent's fetch land is off. Their Goblin Lackey is blocked. Life's not bad. Like, long term, there is this Muxus. But I have the ground stabilized in the short term. Oh. So, Swamp, Dark Ritual, 3 mana, 4/5 mana, Curse of Misfortunes. Okay, it looks like we're going to win this round. Alright, Dark Ritual resolves. I enchant you. I've correctly counted my mana. Alright. That's not literally GG, but it should pretty much do it. My opponent would need to remove Opposition Agent this turn, crash in with Lackey. I assume this is Warchief. Is Warchief? Sure. Yes, I will take 2. My creatures are about to become bigger than all of your creatures. I will use Curse of Misfortune's ability. Yes. Your creatures are 1/1s. And Karn to boot. Sure. Let's go City. Karn. Alright, Karn resolves. We will plus on Sorcerer Spyglass. And we'll just hold back. I don't need to attack my opponent here. Like, they will die to the curses. Red-black, notorious for having trouble answering enchantments that are in play, and I just get a new enchantment every turn. Fetch with the Arid Mesa, I dare you. Thorn of Amethyst. Yes. That probably helps me. Okay, and we get the concession from the opponent. We're now 2-2. Confirmed bad against Delver, and maybe when we don't draw Billion D mana white enchantment, we can be good against other things too. Hopefully we resolve some more curses next round and bring back the play points. Mom, Overwhelming Splendor won't leave me alone. Okay, in all seriousness, how is this hand? So I can produce a Karn on turn 2 grab Helm, I will have 3 of the available mana needed in order to get it. Enjoy your content. Well, good news. You're in a video for next week. Alright, I don't know. Like, this hand is sketch. Like, even if the Karn resolves, there's no guarantee that I actually get the next mana to cast the Helm before I get wastelanded. I think I mulligan this one. This is the classic Chalice of the Void Dark Ritual Nunbo, where I can choose between casting a Dark Ritual into Curse of Misfortunes on turn 2, or I can play Chalice of the Void. Keep. I think I keep in YOLO. Curse of Misfortunes on turn 2. Swamp go. Please not Delver, please not Delver, please not Delver. Well, that might not be Delver. Shit. Well, I guess based... No matter what my opponent takes, I think I have a reasonable play next turn. Like, if they take the Chalice because they're a combo deck, I still just go Dark Ritual, Curse of Misfortunes. And if they take the Chalice... Okay, I don't remember which way I was saying it. This is round 5 of the video, my brain is mush. But I think I either get to play Chalice or Curse of Misfortunes next turn. And that's a win. Not literally, a win in my book. Alright, the curse is gone, leaving me with Chalice of the Void. That seems reasonable, because that also basically blanks Dark Ritual. Unless... Okay, just snap resolved. So I'm going to cast a Chalice on 1. And it snap resolves. Now, next turn I believe I cast a Chalice on 2. Rather than just play out a Chalice on 0 here. I'm thinking Doomsday. Could be Storm, in which case playing a Chalice on 0 is better, but if this is Storm, then stopping Infernal Tutors are also really good. And if it is Doomsday, this makes them have a Cavern for Oracle. And if it's a control deck of some kind, this also stops things like Snapcaster and Baleful Strix. Alright, just a land, just a land. Go Leyline. My opponent is Storm. This is starting to be a nasty combination of cards. Alright, land. Got anything else? No? Cool. Cool. Let's go, Karn. That's a concession. Okay, so I don't really know what my opponent's doing. Is this Google time? This might be Google time. mtggoldfish.com/player/shamwowfella. Legacy, last playing Bug. Last seen on a Shardless Agent deck in February. Otherwise seen playing Modern Bug Pile. Okay, so we're playing against some Bug Pile of cards. Maybe not combo in all likelihood. My Sudden Edicts are probably medium to bad. Maybe I board those out. I think when I don't know what my opponent is doing, I'm going to board in opposition agents. I'll keep 1 Sudden Edict, and then I can actually board properly after the next game. Like, I don't know if I want the Reavers or the Plague Engineers. This is just a sideboard plan that doesn't really put me into a bad spot. Well, the Chalices worked last game, right? Right? Misty... What do you got for me? You got a discard? You got a cantrip? Duress. Duress sounds like Storm or Doomsday, in which case I have double Chalice in the opener. Yep. Alright. Ancient Tomb, Chalice on 1. Hope to draw out of this. Oh, no other land. Well, that was about the best possible top deck. Alright, there's Karn. Karn minuses, yes. I'm going to just take Liquid Metal Coating. It should be pretty safe in my hand since Chalice is on 1. And since my opponent missed a land drop, this is likely very, very, very good. Now, secretly, the cool part here is that next turn... GG, lol. GG's. Alright. Great success. We came back and 3-2'd the league. Alright, now that the deck list is assembled, what are the overall thoughts on the league? We went 3-2, that's 60%. That's a good league on paper, but boy, the deck does not feel good against Delver. You have a bunch of half measures like Leylines that shut off some of the improved power of the creatures, but it doesn't actually kill them. And since you're not actually killing things like Dragon Rage Channelers, the Sudden Edicts are just answering the smaller of the creatures that's there, rather than answering the thing you actually need to kill, and that was super awkward. I don't think the corner has turned on the Delver matchup. That still just feels very bad. And I don't think that that's something that's going to improve. But as you saw in the last round here, we will absolutely dumpster combo. Like, you've got Chalices, you've got Trinispheres, you've got Leylines that are incidental hate, you've got Karns, opposition agents post sideboard. Like, you're gonna feel good against combo, but when you feel bad against Delver, that puts you in a very awkward place as far as Legacy as a format goes. Agro's okay. The entering tapped was definitely relevant in a couple of games, but the fact that that is a land that can also be a Doomblade for a creature is really sick. That card is probably a little better than I gave it credit for. I don't know that I have specific suggestions for what to improve. I don't know if this is a time where you're just like, well, I can't beat Delver, so I shouldn't board extra thing for Delver, or if it should be like, even more of my sideboard should be dedicated to Delver. I will say I don't think I sideboarded optimally in this league. Just kind of was a little unsure about some of the in and out numbers, and some of the like Plague Engineer, Plague Reaver situations didn't come up, but could have come up. Yep, so I hope that gives you something to think about for the future, Mono Black enthusiasts. If you haven't already, please consider clicking the like button or subscribing on your way out. And if you're really enjoying my content and you want to support it, check out the donation deck list information in the video description. Have a great rest of the day, and don't get paired against Ragavan if you're playing this deck.